your car is blowing smoke and making this noise, you're gonna want to stay tuned. So what's causing the issue on this car is actually a bad valve cover, crankcase vent valve that's built into the valve cover assembly, and it does need to be replaced. We normally diagnose it using this tool. It's called a manometer. The mechanical version is called a slack tube, and it kind of looks like this here. But these newer engines, the B58, they act a little differently, and they can read normal. This is a normal reading. And then when it acts up, then you're going to get crazy readings that are all over the place. But at that time, this is kind of out of the picture here. The rule of thumb here is if you have high vacuum readings, then you have a bad crankcase vent valve, which is the valve cover assembly. Low readings, you have a vacuum leak somewhere in here. There's a boot that's off or torn or something like that. Usually see that more on the older cars. The newer stuff, it has less vacuum hoses and lines, and it's usually just a bad crankcase vent valve. The fault codes that this car set were rich mixtures and lean mixtures together. That was pretty much it. There's nothing else really associated with that. And those are very vague faults. They're not faults that can really lead you anywhere, because there's so many things that can cause a rich mixture. There's so many things that can cause a lean mixture. And the fact that you have both together is just wild. The reason being is because once this thing starts acting up, it creates a lot of crankcase pressure difference. It does act like a vacuum leak because it's sucking air through the front and rear main seal, and then it's going to try to richen it up. And then also oil is getting in the combustion chamber, and ignition is minimal. It can't burn that, so the O2 sensors are just freaking out. They don't know what to read or report, so it's just sending those vague rich and lean mixture fault codes. Alright, so here's the new valve cover, and this is the component that goes bad. It's a diaphragm inside there. It's the engine oil air separator, known as the cyclone separator from BMW, or the crankcase vent valve. All the same thing. And basically what happens is when this thing gets a tear in it, oil ends up in the combustion chamber. And the job of this thing is to manage the crankcase pressures. So it does that through some baffling here, and with the diaphragm it can manage that. So what happens when the diaphragm rips is oil ends up in the air chambers, and which returns it back into the cylinder head, then goes in the combustion chamber, and then you get that cloud of smoke. The noise is actually from increased vacuum in the crankcase system, and it's the whistling sound coming from the front main seal of the engine and the rear main seal of the engine. It has a little lip on it, and it just creates this increased vacuum. The air rushing past that lip will create that whistling sound, and of course the engine is just running really rough because it has oil in the combustion, plus the increased vacuum in the combustion in the crankcase itself, and it just can't run like that. Alright, we just took the valve cover off, and we're going to replace it with a new one, and just give you a sneak peek of what's inside here. It's a beautiful little engine, inline 6, twin scroll turbocharged, the camshafts there. The timing chain on this engine is actually on the back side there. Now this job is definitely technical. It requires some expensive tools, some torque wrenches that go down to 2 Newton meters, and the tightening sequence on those have to be followed to a T for the high pressure fuel system. It's not a hard job or difficult job, it just requires special attention.
Thank you for joining me today. I hope this has helped you out if you came across this issue on your car or maybe a customer's car. We have more videos like this. Please like and subscribe. If you don't, your check engine light will come on. I will see you on the next video.